Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Dad and Buried podcast. My name is Mike, aka Dad and Buried, probably the world's foremost Instagram podcaster.
Yeah, is that
Yeah,
right? Okay,
look, man,
sure.
it's a shallow pool, okay?
You know what? Did you get that from OAN Network?
No, that's actually a good idea.
I don't know.
There's some great people over there. They know what they're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
Um, and I'm here with my friend and co-host Pete. What are
Yep.
you again? You
I'm
used to
I'm
do
an
this thing where you
I'm a purveyor of goods online. So yeah, so for
what
many
goods?
years, random things like sneakers I buy online. I buy some of my clothes online. Yeah,
But
it's
isn't a
I'm
isn't a purveyor is someone who sells goods?
well, you know what? That's a good point, Mike. And I do. I sell. I also sell my body
Well,
online.
now we're getting into some
So
muddy waters.
yeah, that's
I
how I
don't
pick
need to know about
it
that.
up.
Nobody else except your fans and your OnlyFans page really need to know about that. Have you heard about OnlyFans? Either of
Um,
this?
it's like a Patreon, but for for
Like
webcam girls or cam
yes.
folk.
And
Yeah,
there's these girls that exist that are just like they have Amazon wish lists. They're like, I really need this thing off my wish list. And there's guys, it's like guys who like are
yeah,
loyals at strip clubs, right?
yeah,
It's the same thing where they have favorite strippers that they get lap dances from and they start to like take under their wing in terms of giving them money,
yeah.
essentially.
Or N95 masks or whatever.
Yeah, so you can do that on OnlyFans, and I'm considering getting into that business. If anybody wants to give me money for me to show them anything, I'll keep my
Yeah,
mouth shut the entire time.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, so we are on what is this in New York? We just the lockdown just got
Four.
extended until
I think
April
we're in
29th.
fourth week, right? Fourth week
Yeah,
of
it's the fourth week,
pause. We're calling it
and
here.
it just got extended. The lockdown got extended till the end of April,
Yeah.
which doesn't surprise me. I was already.
Right.
My wife was like, when that gets lifted, and like if school's back in session, are you gonna feel good about sending them back to school like that first week? I don't know. I'll feel good about getting them out of the house
Yeah, I think all signs are pointing to that. Probably school is not going to happen
for
for
the
the
whole
rest of the
summer.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think what they're doing here, at least in New York, is we're going to forego our spring break and just kind of get
Oh
it,
yeah.
have the school year come as soon as possible,
Well,
so we can just move on.
I for one know that you love spending a ton of money
Mm,
on spring break. So I'm
I do
sorry
love
for
it.
you. I feel
I
bad
do.
for you.
I do love it. It's one of my passions, as you know, to have a lot of money and then just immediately say, you know what? How can I spend 5 plane tickets going somewhere at the peak
Yeah.
season? Yeah, it's great.
That's the worst thing about it. Everyone has spring break at the same time, at least in New
Hmm.
York. So
Yep.
everywhere you would want to go. Um, yeah, I'm not going to
Do
call
you
it
know what my hobby is?
challenging. It's a
Do you know
finding man.
my hobby is looking at what if we flew 2 days, like while the kids are
Oh
still in
God.
school before. Oh, so there's only like a $700 price difference between
Yeah.
those 2 days, between the Wednesday before and then the Thursday. It's like, oh, okay, great, perfect, that
See,
works.
it's that price difference, Pete, which is why I'm not super disappointed. So normally we would drive to like South Carolina or something because it's Easter and then
Right.
Easter bleeds into it. So we
Yeah,
would go
yeah,
for Easter and do like an Easter egg hunt in my sister-in-law's yard, which we don't have around here, and
yeah.
all that crap.
And sometimes they're even home, right? Like
Yeah,
well, yeah, yeah,
sometimes. I was
yeah.
gonna say I'm glad to not have to be in the car for 12 hours each way with my kids, except I'm stuck in the house 24 hours every day
Yeah,
instead. Um,
yeah.
so it's what is it?
I've found that my car has been. We've delivered food to a friend of ours
Yeah,
who's
you
heading
told
up
me.
the COVID unit at in New York Presbyterian, and just being in the car for. I mean, it's a 5 minute drive, but just being in the car is just unbelievably
Strange.
amazing. No, it's just amazing, is what
Dude,
it is. Like
we
I
drove
just,
into Manhattan yesterday. It was like teleporting.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's
So
very
fast and
strange.
smooth, no
I know.
obstacles,
I
no
know.
one's there. We went into Central Park. Nice.
Did you
It's
really?
like I Am Legend, your favorite movie of all time.
It
The
is. Did you
world is
see
your
any deer?
playground.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude, really, you went into the city? Was it just like completely?
Just to bring Heather to get her CAT scan. We had to go into
Yeah.
Manhattan. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it was like you could park, you know, there weren't as many spaces as I thought. I think again because everyone who
Yeah.
lives there just parks where they live and they're just staying put.
Yeah.
But it was definitely eerie, like how few people there were.
Mm.
I mean, we were in the Upper East Side, like near
But
the like
oh,
68th Street.
did it still smell like urine though? That's my biggest fear, is that the urine smell is going to go away.
I'll tell you this:
Yeah.
I've never felt more comfortable wearing my flip flops.
Okay, good. And you contributed, I hope. I
I
hope you
did.
did your part as a New
I've been
Yorker.
wearing masks on my feet.
Thank you. New York
Right?
thanks you.
It
All right, buddy.
does.
So let's
So
get into this. What are we
yeah.
doing today?
This week we're going to be talking about chores and allowance and that kind of stuff. The state of my house with mom and buried, kind of out of commission and in self isolation for close to a month. Not the best. And part of that is because I'm not as good at or care as much about keeping the house up as she does. And the other part is without two people to do it, myself and my wife, and with no assistance at all from my children, it's just tough. It's just tough
Yeah.
to keep it clean. So we're going to talk about the different chores my kids are supposed to do, and what chores other people's kids do, and what chores your kids do, and whether we pay them for those things, and how difficult it is to get them to do those things. Speaking of paying them for things, we do want to shout out our patrons on Patreon who are kind enough to give us a little bit of money every month, and remind everybody that you can not only do that, but you can go to Apple Podcasts and give us we are at $1.99 the last time I saw.
Yep.
Nobody wants to hear my immigrant song on my kid's
No.
recorder, I guess. We just wanted to get to 200.
I think we're at the event horizon, Mike. We're not going to get to.
No,
like, there's
yeah.
There's no way we can possibly get to 200.
But yeah, subscribe to us and give us a rating on there, and tell all your friends about us. And then if you do give us money, we'll give you a little shout out like we're about to do for all the incredible people who have donated a little bit of dough to keep this thing running, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's correct. All right. So
Absolutely.
Ryan Miller and MS Babayan actually go through Anchor, which you can also do. And then the single dad tier for Patreon, check your kids at the door. Chris Coleman, M. Cedeno, 1980, Mallory McKenzie, Miriam, Tina Davis are all in the single dad tier, the dad bod tier. And so we're going to talk about this. My dad bod is out of control. My gym was at my office. I don't go to my office anymore. I've been drinking a lot. And you are the opposite. You are going to come out of this thing looking like Fabio or whatever. You're not drinking. You're working out extra.
I've been wearing my shirts buttoned down to my navel, so that's the start.
I'm gonna cut you off and continue with the list of people on the dad bod tier on Patreon. Lindsay Woodruff, Andrea Sandoval, Barbara Geiger, Bill D'Amica, Dana Bozde, Jacques Govar, and Morning Glow. The father figure tier, Wes Clark, Jennifer Wynn, Julie McCarthy, and Paula Polsky. And the world's greatest dad tier, Mary Williams and Julie Burton. Thank you very much, guys, for not only subscribing and listening, but also sponsoring us on Patreon. And hopefully you've left a 5-star review on Apple. If you haven't, get to it. You've given us not enough yet. So when we get back after the break, we're going to talk about chores and why kids don't do them and how to try to get them to do them, pretty much.
All right. See you after this.
See you then. All right, guys, we're talking about chores this week. And the reason this came up was that fresh in my mind is because, as I mentioned, I almost called her my mom, with my wife, mom and buried, basically in self-isolation with COVID for close to a month. Every time she peeked out, she has to go to the bathroom or whatever, she got a glimpse of one of the other rooms, she would just be like, "What's going on?" And
she would muster enough strength to just completely lay into you.
And then she'd be depleted.
Must yell at husband.
And not even yelling at the kids too, being like,
"Oh yeah, of course." Well, look, she saved her strength. Thankfully, we know that she's.
It's one of the reasons this is taking so long.
It's a good sign.
Such a mess.
Yeah.
The house is such a mess that every time she's starting to feel better, she comes out and goes berserk, and then she has to get back in bed. For some reason, it's more effective. Like, so we've talked about this before, but like the rare, intense bursts of anger from my wife are more effective than the droning
Right.
anger that I always operate under. My
Right.
kids tend to tune that out sometimes, which is maybe one of the reasons I have a hard time getting them to do chores. But based on the answers I got this week, everybody has a hard time getting their kids to do chores. And I really could have used their help while Mama Buried was kind of out of commission,
Yeah.
because just I don't mind clutter that much.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like food and stuff that I leave around that my wife gets mad about. I just miss the hamper or leave things places they don't belong.
Right.
My kids, it's clutter. They don't bring like empty milk bottles, or milk bottles get all crusty for my toddler, and like water bottles are strewn all over the place, and they never put their clothes anywhere. And if
What is
all
this,
they did
Animal
was
House?
their part, if they did their part, the place would be 75% cleaner.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
don't do anything.
Mike, that's the most obvious statement any parent has ever
What
given.
I'm
They
saying
don't
is,
do anything. These kids don't do anything.
well, that's
And
true.
the
Yes.
only way that it's ever going to happen is to, we've talked about this, find the one thing that they love the
Yes.
most
Well,
and just hold it above them, threatening. And again, it can be going to Disney World, or it doesn't have to be a physical
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It can be an emotional thing, and just hold that over them and be like, oh, well, that's not happening
A
now,
dad that loves you.
in
Guess
order
what?
to get them to do something.
A dad
Oh,
that
really?
loves
Don't want to bring
you.
your milk bottles up? No Disney.
So that I
Played.
asked for hacks and solutions for what people do, and that is definitely one of the ones. And that is definitely what I do, and that definitely is not effective for me, because I've done it so much. And I jump from, instead of you're going to bed without TV, I jump to you're never gonna get your driver's license, or there's something something
Yeah.
extreme and outrageous.
You're never going to pay taxes under my roof. I mean, hold on a second. I need
No,
some
the
time to
opposite.
think about this.
All
Yeah.
of the taxes.
Yeah.
So there is one tip I got that we're going to get to later, which I think I may try. Think it may work.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's
Odds
hear
are
what
it will work for 2 weeks and then stop working like everything else. So
let's hear
I asked
what
the
others
question,
have to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I asked the question, do your kids do chores? Do they get an allowance? Is it a struggle to get them to do their chores? And how do you get them to do their chores? Essentially was what I asked. And a lot of people have the same problem we do. A lot of stuff to be done, and a lot of kids around to not do it. So MJ_Down said they're supposed to do chores. It's impossible. Kids suck. That's a pretty good thesis statement for the episode. Alexandra Overgard, who comments a lot, says chores, just like everything else with my kids, turn into a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Again,
absolutely.
They're really summing up. We could end the episode right now. That's basically we've hit it all. So I wanted to know what kind of chores kids did. And there's a lot of people of different ages of kids, and some of them are right in my wheelhouse and yours, and some of them are a little bit older, I think. But Tanya P. Fisterer says, we had girls, and we told them to do their chores, and they just did it. I think girls are easier, and only children are easier. I can't speak to girls, and you have 2 girls and a boy. Yeah. But the boy is so young that the chores aren't a super real thing yet. Maybe he has some, but not as much as, say, mergers and acquisitions, right?
Yeah,
but she has an actual job.
Yeah, she's an actual pay stub coming in. But the one thing I found effective is when I'll say, hey guys, could you clean up? You know what? Never mind. You guys couldn't do it.
Yeah,
Never mind. This is for somebody else. This is for somebody else. And I tell you, it whips them into a frenzy. And I'm like, you know what? There's no way that, and then I'll let them go away, and then of course they like conspire together and like, oh, okay, and then they kind of work together as a team, and then I come down, like, Dad, come downstairs, and the place is spotless. At which point I immediately say, who did Mom do this? Some grown up did this. No kid could possibly have cleaned this place this well, and I love it, and they love it too.
So, see, this is the kind of thing that is the kind of thing like a dad in a movie does, where everyone's like, that's the kind of parenting I should do. Like the laid back, I'm a good guy, nothing's too harsh kind of shit, like make it playful that works in a movie. I never managed to be able to do that. I just try it the regular way, and then I get angry, and so I know in theory that this is a really effective way to do it.
Listen,
but I can never get
that's
myself
something
to
that's happened 3 times over 12 years. That's happened 3 times, and of course, it still resonates in my mind as something that's. But no, I mean, the general, like, hey, can you guys, like, you're taking snacks down, you're on the couch, can you clear your plates? And then of course it's like, hey, can you clear your plate? And they're just totally transfixed onto the
Oh my
TV, and
God.
you're like, hey, can you clear? And then the next thing you know, it's,
Yep.
can you clear? And then,
Why are
Dad,
you so mad at me?
why is everybody yelling? It's like, dude, come on.
God.
Yeah,
God,
it's yeah. So I see I agree with those first commenters.
So,
Sure.
but are girls easier?
I don't know if that's a hard and fast rule. I think it kind of becomes more. Personally, I think it's more personality. Between my 2 girls, there's one of my girls will is more readily able and happy to clean up, and versus the other one. And even my son will pitch in now and again. And actually, he's starting to become even more helpful, which, again, knock on wood, I think I feel like I've just jinxed myself for the rest of the time.
I mean, he's older than a toddler, but that's one
Yeah.
of the things that came up a lot is toddlers will like to help. Like, they want to be independent and actually do things.
Yeah.
So they'll try to help you. They just will do it really poorly. So I screwed up. So I mixed 2 comments. Tanya P. Pfister said, we had girls, we told them, and they did it. Sorry, boys are different. They are stubborn. And Rachel Bush Jones said, my 4-year-old daughter puts her shoes away. She hangs her coat, and she thinks her girls are easier and only children are easier. Only children probably are easier, if only because recently I've been dealing with, every time I ask my 9-year-old to do something, he's like, but the hammer didn't do it, but he didn't do anything, or you never make him do anything. First of all, he's 4. He can barely even walk at this point. I mean, compared to where my 9-year-old is, it's like comparing my 9-year-old to me. Like, the gap in your abilities is pretty significant. So yeah, he has lower standards.
I mean, to be fair though, they're really closing quickly though, between 9-year-old and you. That's really, the gap is closing.
Yeah, he's gonna lap me very soon. So just in terms of the conflict that having 2 kids creates in every situation, or having more than 1 kid, it definitely makes the chore situation worse, because it's always a question of, I'm doing more than him, or he's not helping, or why don't you make him do shit? And that is super frustrating. So,
well, and the one thing I've tried recently is I will single out, like, just excellent, like, so if I don't have to say something and someone just does it, they for example, they clear their plate or they do something, I just immediately just focus all my attention on them, and I'm like, you're the best, whatever you want, triple dessert, how about quadruple dessert? I'm like, you know what, shut up and take my money. And all of a sudden the other 2 immediately in a tizzy, and I'm like, I love it. I just want to weaponize those donuts, those glazed donuts.
Force them at each other's throats like Lord of the Flies.
Well, but I mean, because like you said, yelling doesn't work. I mean, I think I yell just because it makes me feel better in general, but it has no impact.
Nothing I do works when it comes to chores, when it comes to literally anything.
It's an uphill battle. It's all uphill.
The past month has really shown me, of the quarantine and basically parenting on my own, just how lazy of a parent I am. It's so frustrating, and I'm just so bad at it that my kids are they're being raised by the television set, and it's better for everybody.
It's good. Better.
So Samantha _Blair 914 said, it can be hard getting them to do chores. I have 11 and 9-year-old girls, and there's so much sass.
Oh yeah.
You get the sass? I get sass from my 9-year-old boy.
Oh my God, sass. Whatever, Dad. Yeah, I can hear it already. Yeah,
it makes me so angry. It's my number one way of communicating with every person I know, but it makes me furious when my 9-year-old does it.
Yeah.
Miss Milliot M says the 6 and 4-year-old clear their plate from the table. The 2-year-old baby picks up her food off the floor. See, everybody does their part.
There you go.
That baby, huh?
Yeah. Good for that baby.
Barb Datstagram says, I have a 2-year-old who likes to help put cutting boards and utensils away. And then she wrote, POS won't last long, which I take to believe piece of shit won't last long because he's putting like dangerous utensils away. You know what? Survival of the fittest there, Barbstagram. If I interpreted that incorrectly, please let me know, because I'm not sure what POS might have meant. It could just be a typo. Cole's 227 is on the other side. He says he has 2 boys, 7 and 3. They help me bring in the groceries and they clean up their toys. I'm also trying to get them to put their plates and cups in the sink when they finish. I've been really trying to get my kids.
Yeah.
So they're like playroom/bedroom is downstairs.
Yeah.
And especially lately in the morning, when like I have a conference call every morning at like 9, and my kid has his homeschooling like meeting of the morning every day. And I'm like, you got to go downstairs to do that. And he like, I'll give him his breakfast or whatever. And then it will just be there for 3 days. Like even every single day I will tell him, bring those up when you're done. And every single day I will also say to him, I told you to bring these up, because he hasn't. Every day. That's one of the most infuriating things. The stuff that they don't do it so consistently. They don't pick up their clothes. They don't put their stuff in the sink. They don't lift the seat when they go to the bathroom. It's just the same thing over and over and over and over. Do you see that?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I just this
Am
is
I the
not.
only one?
Yeah. That doesn't sound like right. Doesn't sound right.
So here's getting into. So Lisa Joe 1987 says the 14-year-old does the dishwasher, which loads and unloads. Do you think that means?
Yeah, probably. That's good.
Or the teenager, he or she doesn't get the Xbox.
There you go. See, that's what you do. You found the pressure. It's called pressure point parenting. You find those pressure points and you parent.
Did you just coin that?
I don't. Yeah, I guess so.
Pressure point parenting sounds like child abuse, but I like it.
But yeah, it's effective.
She says her 5-year-old puts his own clothes away, but he's a turd and doesn't.
Oh,
of course he doesn't.
There we go.
So he's supposed to put them away. Casey Horrell has a 1-year-old who doesn't do chores. So, get on that. You got to start him young. The 4-year-old has to pick up after himself, feed the dogs, and fold his pants.
Whoa.
I think that he just has to fold his pants. Like he takes off his pants every night like a proper British man, and then he folds them up.
Well, they would be trousers at that point, I think.
That's true. That's true. The dogs thing, we don't have pets, but that's a big part of having a pet is because usually you lord it over the kid. You wanted this pet, or we got this pet for you. It's your responsibility. Right. You got to feed him, take him for a walk. That's why you get a cat, folks. Then you get the litter box.
Do you? Yeah.
Oh, you're a cat hater?
I mean, I'm not a cat fan. How's that?
Okay, well, you're wrong.
I don't actively
cats
hate
are great.
Cats.
Cats are great. Do you like dogs?
Yeah. Dogs are way better than cats, but cats are fine.
False.
Well, first of all, I'm deathly allergic to cats, so I have that
that's
going.
Not their fault. That's your fault.
Isn't it, though?
God,
I'm pretty sure it is their fault with their sexy dander.
Yeah, doesn't sound sexy. Like allergic. That's right. That doesn't sound like allergic, Pete.
You know what? Maybe I'm a little attracted to cats.
Exactly.
That's my
Mama Barry doesn't like animals, but that's another episode. Misfit _9908 says mine would take out the trash, vacuum, and mop. She has 2 boys, 10 and 9, and she would give them money for it. We're going to get into the allowance, no allowance thing. Dusty Rhodes 07, which is I think it was an old wrestler's name. Dusty Rhodes says the 14-year-old knows the drill and doesn't argue. That must be nice. The 9-year-old though depends on his mood. No payment, all around. Yeah. So they were talking to cats. Ritagram 007 says feeding the cat that the kid begged to get.
Oh,
so that works because the kid loves the cat, right? But he won't do anything else. She says all else epic fail. My 5-year-old won't do crap. Huh?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say the 5-year-old. My 5-year-old. Not only is it just the not doing it, he will do it eventually, but it's the amount of flopping around on the table, on the floor, and the rolling, and I don't want to have to get dressed. It's like, well, you have to get dressed.
Oh my God.
I don't know what to tell you. You have to get dressed. I need everybody to help me. I need servants. And I'm like, no, dude, you got to get it yourself. And then, 40 minutes later, he'll come up and he won't. He'll have everything will be fine except he won't have socks on, and that's he just doesn't have socks on for the rest of the day. So.
But if you had just done this in 5 minutes, you wouldn't be in trouble. You wouldn't have just spent 40 minutes throwing a fit. It's so much easier. You're just wasting energy.
I know.
Who are you hurting?
Exactly. But sorry, I interrupted. I'm sorry, the handle is ass_and anxiety.
That's why I wanted to get to that.
Just want to make sure we get that.
ass_and anxiety. I don't know that I want to know what the anxiety is about.
Yeah.
But she says, or her 5-year-old won't do crap. She tries, but she behaves like an angry teenager from 1994. Now, what does the year that the person was a teenager have to do with their attitude? Are teenagers better in 2004? I highly doubt it.
I'm sensing that. Listen, I'm gonna just kind of read into this. I bet you ass
Talk
underscore
about
and
herself
anxiety was a teenager in
in
1994
1994.
and
I was.
was pretty angry. Were you?
I was 18.
Oh my God. You don't look like a year over 30.
You know, it was my birthday yesterday.
Was it? Happy
No,
birthday, buddy.
it was Paul Rudd's, and a lot of people confuse us. Mine's not till September.
That's what you're a real dick face.
Wow.
I mean, why would you? I mean, that's crazy. You don't look anything like Paul Rudd. Like literally,
It's a
you look
bit. It's an
nothing like.
ongoing bit. My Instagram followers will appreciate it. Why
Okay.
don't you respect the craft? All right, I know what I'm doing.
All right.
Louise underscore Igo underscore Ayla 89 says, my kids put everything that is in the wrong room back into the right room, and then I clean the rooms. That's weird. So that's like kitchen stuff back in the kitchen, clothes back in your bedrooms, and then she just cleans everything. But that's pretty much it. Like, you don't ask the kids to clean everything.
Right.
You ask them to just pick up the shit.
Well, also let's be clear, because there's a number of chores that if a kid gets involved, that chore just went from like a 1 to like a level 10 in complexity. Like, oh, you want to help clean up, and then dishes are broken and whatever. You know, it's like, oh my God, you got a whole other mess on your hands.
Right. It's a double-edged sword. So Kelly Blackburn 79 says her kids dust, clean their rooms, feed the pets, and there's no allowance involved. It's torture just to get them to do that. One of the chores that my wife has our 9-year-old do when we're cleaning the house is to dust. And dusting is really it's nothing. You don't do anything unless there's a lot of dust. You're not doing any work. Right. You're
spreading. All you're doing is just spreading dirt from one place to another.
But there's also so many surfaces that you can just skip or just go like that with a cloth over, and no one's going to check those. It's only the handful of places that you can see, and you can't really see it unless there's a ton. It's really like not giving him a chore at all. He doesn't. I mean, he's not doing anything when you say dust. I gotta go hold on. I gotta go tell my wife.
yeah. You gotta go wake him up. Go wake up your kid.
So H. Ryder makes a good point. She says her son is 4.5, and most of the things she has him do as chores are self-care. Dress, brush teeth, put toys away, help in kitchen, put your PJs on, and no whining. Now, I don't consider like my kids getting dressed a chore, but they probably do. Right?
Oh my God. I mean, literally, if it's not them being on the iPad for every second of their life, then it's a chore. Yeah,
it's like they're working. If they're working on a chain gang, if they're not doing whatever they want to be doing. Yeah.
And if they're not being fed immediately the second that they're hungry, what a chore it is. Oh, do I have to go and eat lunch now? I just ate a bag of goldfish, but now I have to sit and eat lunch. Yeah.
Tonight I had a conversation with my toddler where he doesn't eat. It's really hard to get him to eat dinner. And then he'll be like, oh, I'm done. I'm not hungry. And I'll be like, yeah, take 3 more bites. And he's like, no, I'm hungry. I'm like, every night you come up and say you're hungry. And I say, that's because you didn't eat enough dinner. And he's like, I won't say it tonight. I'm like, fine, 2 more bites. 2 seconds later, I want dessert.
Right.
Even though he was just saying he wasn't hungry. 10 minutes after that, before he even got to bed, he comes back after dessert and is telling me he's hungry.
Yeah.
I'm like, buddy, your food was on your plate. I'm like, you're not getting shit.
You know what? Sit down. We're going to go over the PowerPoint presentation one more time that I put together.
The problem is, though, you're like, I don't want he's a toddler, right? So it's like, I don't want him to go to bed and be hungry because he'll wake up early. So then, like, maybe you give him like a yogurt that you don't consider a treat, but he considers a victory. And then you've just undone any so-called discipline.
I think the yogurt is a good middle ground. I actually did. We had a yogurt incident.
That's what we do
tonight. We had a yogurt where but Mike
or an apple.
There you go.
Right, something like that. Where you let them think they won, but it's actually you're fine with it. All right, at least this is good for you.
Yeah.
Soph S620 says 2 boys and 1 girl. They collect the garbage and recycling, clean the play area. No complaints. Some allowance. How much impact does the allowance have on this situation? We're getting into allowance. Do you do allowance?
I do not do. No, we don't do allowance. But we're
Did you
starting.
have an allowance as a kid?
No, no. I didn't. But I did. I do remember doing things for money. Namely, just like selling my body, selling
You
other
mentioned that
people's
earlier. So you've been
bodies.
doing that your whole life then.
Yeah, and just like also cadavers and stuff like that whenever I come upon them. So those are the kinds of things that have
You're
made me
always
some nice
stumbling
scratch.
upon cadavers.
Yeah.
Do you have?
Um,
Is your middle? Do you have three first names? So you are you're a clean cut guy no one would suspect. You're white male.
oh yeah, very
I think
white.
you fit the profile of serial killer.
Yeah,
You have a lot of
yes,
repressed anger.
clearly.
100%.
And I have this whole family, so that works out as kind of like a beard, some
That's
kind
where
of
the
beard.
repressed anger
The only
comes in.
problem is that it doesn't work exactly the way I planned because I'm so filled with rage and exhausted at the end of the night that it's hard to get out there. It's hard to get out there.
it's hard to find.
I'm so
those
spent.
victims.
Yeah, so spent like sort of kicking chicken nuggets and slicing apples that I'm like
So,
tomorrow.
speaking of rage, I think we're both about to get angry at this one. Cynthia
Okay.
Denise says her 7-year-old washes his own clothes.
Honestly, come on, stop it. Washes his own clothes.
What does he use? One of those like metal boards? What do they call those? Washboards, like with a jug underneath it, like in the 1800s.
First of all,
using a machine?
I literally only learned how to wash clothes, I think like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like how much, where to put it in.
Do you separate?
No, please.
No one does that anymore, I don't think.
Come on, their technology's caught up to us, so we don't have to do that.
Have the technology to not separate.
We can
amazing.
Put whatever we want. I mean, except for maybe if you've bought something that's deep red and you've never washed it before, I wouldn't throw that in. I'd give that a second glance. You know what I mean?
Do you own anything that's deep red, like an evening dress?
My daughter was gifted a deep red sweatshirt, and so that had to be washed separately. So there you go, Mike.
So hold on.
Now
This last comment before we get to the yes allowance, I would like you to read this one.
Okay, so nasty cat4 nasty cat finds you pure epic purr.
So every time I post a story on Instagram, Nasty Cat responds with emojis and some kind of cat pun or just saying purr. Nasty Cat has multiple accounts where nasty is spelled differently.
Okay. What was that? What was that even referring to?
It doesn't refer to anything. It's always just really generic praise and then some kind of cat bullshit. I don't know.
Wait, is it praise? Oh, finds you pure epic. Okay.
Finds me pure epic.
I don't know.
Dude.
Okay.
It's really bizarre. I wanted you to read it just so you could experience it. There were more than one of these that got submitted this week.
Okay.
I didn't put the other one on there for you.
Maybe Nasty Cat's a big allowance person. Maybe that's what she's responding to.
Who would you be most shocked in your life to find out was actually Nasty Cat leaving me weird cat messages? Like your wife? Would it be weird if you found out your wife had an alias?
maybe. Oh my God! What if it was my 12-year-old? You know what? I'm gonna go ask her right now. Hold on one sec.
Are you Nasty Cat?
Yeah. All right. So what are we getting into? We're getting into allowances, right?
So I had an allowance, but like it was more like I was once maybe told or I asked for an allowance, and it was like $5 a week, and it never really even happened. Like it just was like it was an idea. It wasn't consistent. I knew kids who got allowances. Mine were tied to chores. There's a lot of people here who are like, my kids have to do chores with or without an allowance. They get an allowance, but it's for other reasons. So we'll get into that. But there were far fewer people who give allowances than I anticipated. They're like 6 or 7. Carrie DeMar says that they get their age in dollars every week. So if you're 6, you're getting $6 a week. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
What do you need at 6?
That's big time.
If you're 9, if you're 10, that's $40 a month.
Listen. If you're doing hard time, that's $6 a month. I mean, that's big time.
You get a lot of cigarettes.
Oh my God! First of all, my 5-year-old, I've taught him everything I know about sort of the internal workings of prison, obviously, and cigarettes are big. You know, they're big. with him. Yeah,
Big
just
barter
trading.
item in Barter
Yeah, big
Town.
barter on shivs and shanks and all that. It's good.
So Carrie DeMar, I think that she had the most unique chore on my list. She said that her kids, in order to earn their dollar amount every week, their age amount in dollars every week, she said they have to clean their rooms, fold and put away their clothes, and clean the chicken coop.
Wow. That's okay.
I mean, they deserve an allowance for that, probably.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's
Football
allowance.
TNT mom says their room must be clean before they can earn money doing chores. So a bunch of people said this, that the only time they got any kind of allowance was if they went above and beyond, if they did their chores and then extra stuff or did something special. A bunch of people said that, although Elka Sprisky says my 13 and 11-year-olds get an allowance, but right now they really suck at doing their chores. But they still, they get used to expecting the money every week, right? Yeah. And it's easy to be like, oh, I'll do it. Like, oh, you haven't done this. Oh, I'm going to do it today. Give me my money or whatever. And eventually you probably just are like, whatever, here. Right?
There's really nothing like watching your kid take out the garbage with it just leaking all the way from the garbage can all the way through your house, all the way down the stairs, and then be like, dude, you just leaked it everywhere. And they're like, can I have my money now? And you're like,
Cotton Farmer AZ says that. I said, my 6-year-old daughter loves to do chores. Does she do a good job? Hell no.
No.
But the 15-year-old will only do chores if he's paid.
Yeah.
It's the only way to get reasonable people to do things for you, right? You get old enough, you're like, hey, I'm worth something.
Is to incentivize. Yeah, I mean, so we have introduced monetization of chores, but chores are above and beyond, like you say. It's so if someone wants to they have to make their bed and they have to get themselves dressed. But if they want to make my bed, that's big time. That's 25 cents right there. You just earned yourself 25 cents, or for Lucy's.
What year is this? For Lucy's, yeah.
Whichever I have on hand.
So Tracy Tilley, and I like this. She says he gets an allowance, but it's not tied to chores because chores are something we all do, and that's the price you pay to be a part of a family.
Boom. There you go.
Earn your keep. Gaelic Mama says, my 9-year-old gets $10 a week for fulfilling most chores, plus babysitting his little sister. Now, this is a 9-year-old. I have a 9-year-old. If by babysitting, she puts in quotes, either she means she's being a little bit facetious or hyperbolic, and that the kid maybe sometimes just plays with his sister in the other room to keep things quiet. But if she means we leave and my 9-year-old is in charge and we go out like a date or something, then he's getting ripped off and deserves more than $10 a week.
Yeah.
That's what I say to that. Would you leave your 9-year-old at home alone with your 5-year-old?
Yeah.
For like a date night?
No, not that long. We have, and I think it's the most to run to the store and back.
Yes,
so we're talking like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. And the 9-year-old has a way, obviously, to connect and contact me through her iPod Touch, which is a thing. So
still in 2020.
It's still a thing. Yeah.
So I've had it obviously with Mom and Barry kind of laid up. I've had to sometimes go to the store to get her medicine or whatever. She'll be napping in the other room, which is essentially, and she couldn't even touch the kids, right? So it's essentially like they were home alone, and I would do that and leave them home. They can reach me through Alexa. They'd be like, Alexa, call Dad, and it will work.
Oh, really?
You know that? Yeah.
Huh.
It's annoying.
That's very annoying.
You got to stress really hard. Only in emergency. This is not a toy.
And then can they combine Alexa Call Dad and play the poopy song at the same time? So. And so in the next, your mind just melts.
CJ Horner is another one who gives allowance, but it's not tied to the chores. It's to teach money management, which is not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. The birthday money, they get birthday money. It's different from chores, obviously. But chores, we've just never really, like I said, we give random, here's a quarter for making the bed. And of course, right. I could give my 5-year-old a penny and he's excited about that. Like any kind of
eat it?
anything.
Does he swallow it?
No, but then he will immediately go and do just an awful trade with his sister, one of his older sisters. Usually is the middle. Just an awful trade. Like she'll draw him a picture and then just take the quarter And then the second that he does the exchange, he's in tears. He's like, "What? I just have this stupid picture," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's first of all, the picture's awful. She
Yeah.
put no effort into it whatsoever, and then of course she gets super litigious, like it was a fair trade, no backsies,
Yeah,
and you're
you got
just like,
grifted, kid. You got took.
yeah, and then that's it, and
So
I'm
I
like,
need to
yeah,
apologize because I used the term gypped, which was a derogatory term for gypsies and something that they did. And I used it once before 30 episodes ago, and my old friend Julie McCarthy gave me some guff for it. I meant to say carnied, all right? I didn't mean to say
yeah, yeah,
gypsies are an ethnicity,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah. I
offensive.
was
And
about
definitely
to say, yeah,
carnies, fair game.
yeah,
Okay.
fair game.
So double X Shell Bernard says, double X Shell Bernard double X. Maybe that's nasty. Cat says, I don't do allowance because I'm not getting paid to clean either. They live here, they clean. They pick up their toys if they don't want the vacuum to eat them. Now, a couple of things on this one. That's the thing. When you make chores, when you make look, you just keep up a standard of living that you should be doing anyway. It's just general responsibility.
Right.
When you make that chores, it automatically seems to give them like a special place. And if you tie allowance to it, it's like, this is something that is special. Instead, it's just like, no, you just need to do this or you're in trouble because these aren't chores. This is just life. Figure it out.
Yeah, coming to think of it, we definitely, as you know, M&A, my oldest daughter was, we give her money so that she has enough to get food if she needed.
Yeah,
So again, between $5 and $10 if she's somewhere and she needs to literally get some food, but that's over the course of a week. No, exactly, and that's I think what I'm trying to say, which is I think you had a good point of separating allowance from chores, and then there's above and beyond chores like taking out the garbage and whatever, but then there's just
distinguish yourself.
You need to get dressed yourself, you need to brush your own teeth, you need to make your own bed, I'll put your clothes away, that kind of stuff. But above and beyond, you don't earn
points for putting underwear on.
Now Mike, hold up, I'm going to stop you there.
Look, I know you have experience selling your body and you have different tiers
First of all,
of what earns what.
This isn't my first pandemic, okay? And what I've learned is just don't go for underwear. When you get up in the morning, just leave it off. Take those calls, do a few business calls over Zoom, and just be professional from top up.
Yeah.
But just bottom down, just wild and free. Just the wind. Let the wind take it where it goes. Whatever happens. Whatever happens, happens. Yeah, the wind, Mike. The wind.
So MIVIE 0513 says there's no allowance because their asses live here and they get fed regularly. Michelle _Grant_ says allowance? Hell no. If they get allowance, then they should pay for groceries, power, gas, etc. That's what I'm talking about, right? If you want to be rewarded for doing basic things like a roommate would do, then you need to chip in like a roommate would do.
I love that idea. Just here's your allowance. Now I'm going to take it right back.
Yeah, here's your portion of the bills. You handle the phone bill every month. So a bunch of people did say, not unless it goes above and beyond. Cassafras 25 says, I may change my mind, but I feel like I shouldn't have to pay them to help around the house. They get free room and board, 3 meals included. Exactly. This is what we're saying, Pete.
You know what? First of all, Cassafras 25 is totally wrong because it's not 3 meals included. It's 3 meals plus 95 mini snacks.
Mini meals, yeah.
Yeah, just throughout the day of goldfish and...
Days with the Dories, DOREYS says no allowance. They live here. They need to help keep it livable.
There you go.
Exactly.
Case closed.
Exactly. So one of the themes of this was how hard it is to get kids to do this stuff because it's impossible to get kids to do anything. I'm not good at it. The carrot doesn't work. The stick doesn't work. They're just dicks.
The whole system doesn't work, Mike.
The whole system.
The whole goddamn system doesn't work. Yeah.
So I did get some hacks, and I'm going to tell you the ones that I think might work. So Leah.forthe.light says, let your toddler help with everything. Even if they do a terrible job, they love it. So I think that's a decent idea. They do like to participate, but they just like to participate because it's fun and it makes them feel good. When it's actual work and they're grown past that playful stage of it, like when they're 8 or 9, that doesn't translate anymore. It doesn't teach them anything.
Well, what's interesting is uh, all three kids, we had them in a Montessori school early on,
Yeah,
and
you mentioned.
I honestly found that it was, or my daughters went to a different school. I found it was just incredibly expensive for what it was, which was not much. My son went to a different one where it was much more kind of quote unquote intense. And what I mean by that is they would have them sit there and put on their shoes. So they're like two or whatever, that's 2, 3, put on their shoes, laces, whatever, and just have them sit there
Laces out.
for however long. So you imagine, and then
You
of
just
course
do it for the whole day.
of course you're encouraged to do this stuff at home. And so he'd be at home and I'm like, all right, let's go to the park. And my we're like, no, don't let him get his own shoes on. I'm like, what? So,
It's gonna take 3 hours.
it is hard. It's hard to strike that balance between letting them do, but I do, having said that, I will say that I have, there's definitely, he's much more independent and is able to do things more, which I
Yeah,
can
but
only attribute to that.
But a lot of that comes from being the youngest with two older siblings and wanting to do what they do and
Maybe.
be older like them.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But he's pretty good. He's pretty resilient, and he can kind of carry his load.
I'm just saying. So J_Wayne_R says the same thing. I turn it into a game and do chores with my 4-year-old, which I think works with a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 3-year-old, but I don't think that works anymore with a 9-year-old who has other things they want to be doing a little bit more. They understand that even if you try to make it a game, it's really not all that fun. Like, I think that stuff just fades away, and it's a different ball game. And I can't even speak of what it's like with teenagers. Leave_her_wild_ says she has a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 9-year-old, and she still does 90% of the chores. She's looking forward to hearing ideas on how to suck less at it. Not from us, but maybe.
Yeah, no, not from us. I was so funny because I was just remembering that my 12-year-old will sometimes can go to the extreme. I know we were talking about like, hey, make this, I'll sometimes be like, hey, was Mary Poppins here? Or, make it like spick and span. And there's been a few points where it's been so intense, like, no, you can't come down. And it's like, no, it's okay. It's whatever state it is at this point, it's fine. And then it becomes, no, it has to be perfect. And then there becomes this next level of, no, you don't understand. It's not. Yes. Yeah. It's okay if the bedspread is not so perfect, and
you're giving them OCD.
Yeah, exactly.
You're trying to be fun, hip parent.
I know.
You're giving them
and nothing's working. Yeah, exactly.
M. Reffin says bribery. 60% of the time it works. Every time. I love that. 60% of the time it's right. Like, bribery works, but not all the time. If it's something they really don't want to do, sometimes they'll just screw with you and be like, I don't care. Whatever you're offering them, not going to do it. Jill versus Life says, with the right combo of bribery and yelling, we have about 25% success. So we get some really good tips tonight. That's about my success. Bribery, yelling, threats.
I mean, I think that's what
works. Listen,
again, you're not going to go far. There's no way you can be at 100%. You're going for 40% best, I feel like.
So what do you think is more effective? So Jamie Light Skage, couldn't even figure that one out, says, I find blackmail works. So if they want screen time or sweets, it's a good time to do chores. So instead of being like,
yes,
here's something, go do it, it is, you don't get this until you do it. And I think that's probably more effective.
Pressure point parenting right there.
There you go. Jamie Light Skage. I have no idea. I'm nowhere near right with that pronunciation.
Apparently, Jamie Light Skage was already taken. So they added the one.
It could just be, they added a one. Yeah. I think maybe there's a typo in there. I don't know. So this is what I think might be helpful for my kids. So To Catch It says, chore chart with a point system. Whoever gets the most points at the end of the week wins something, right? Sarah_Ganadt, Gnadt, loyal listener, says there's a chore list with points. They need 20 points a month. If they don't make the points, they get $10 in savings.
There we go.
Interesting. If they do make the points, they get $20 total. So 10 goes to savings, and then 10 goes to them as like spending money, and they get to choose their own chores. And she says it works.
Wow.
So for me,
that's a pretty good system.
Gamifying it might be pretty effective. Be like,
Yeah.
you get to choose the chores. You have accumulated a certain amount of points from all these chores over the course of a week or a month or whatever. You get either this much money or like a prize or a toy of your choice or something like that. I think that might work with my 9-year-old.
I don't know. I think you're going off piece here, man. Just do what she says. Do what Sarah Kana says. Just do the $10. If they don't make 20 points, they don't make it, they get $10. And then if they do make it, they get 20. And then they not only get savings, but they also get spending money.
Well, they really just only get $10. They're not going to care about that savings, right? So they're only looking at the $10. So either they get nothing or they get $10. The savings is good for you.
Listen, once you sit them down and explain a 401k and how it works,
they're gonna love it.
Once you start talking about compounded interest, boom, their little eyes are going to explode with graciousness.
Make sure they realize they cannot withdraw from their 401k too early, or they're going to lose a shitload in taxes. About half.
I mean, they would have to be dumbasses to do that, and you could explain that to them too.
So Jenna D811 says, I've heard chores for extra screen time work super well, better than money. So this is interesting to me. She says, I've heard. So does she not have kids? Or does she have kids and she doesn't do this and somebody told her that this works? Jenna, what you're doing,
Jenna,
try this. It really works. And she's just like, nah, I haven't tried.
We're pulling your card on this one, Jenna. Can't come here being like, hey, I heard this thing works.
You know what? You need to test that in a laboratory setting. Mary Stuart Dyer, friend of ours, chiming in, says that she makes them clean up their toys before getting screen time. So she uses the blackmail thing. Oh, you want that? Do this.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's a pretty good idea. Julie in Zanti. Where is Zanti? What is that short for? What is that? Is Zanti a place?
No, maybe it's her last name.
No, I think, well, you're right. Maybe it's Julie in Zanti. I thought it was Julie in Zanti, but I don't know where Zanti is. Maybe her last name is just in Zanti.
I don't know.
I think people love it when we get into the names.
Yeah.
She says she stands in front of the TV and threatens to turn off Disney Plus until they clean their shit. That's the opposite of the blackmail.
Oh my God. That's not doing it. Don't stand in front of it. Simply just turn it off. Just make sure they because what they'll do, they can see. If I'm like having if I'm delivering an impassioned sort of speech,
they're looking around.
They've figured out all the different angles that they can see, where they can not only ignore the words and hot air that's coming out of my mouth, but they can still glean a little bit of watching sustenance.
They're like Neo at the end of the Matrix. They just see all the code and hear just numbers, and they can see the TV behind you.
Yeah.
Shelly Cody Spence says that she threatens that she'll take all their electronics away. I do that. I threaten to take away PlayStation 5 times a week. Mimosas with Moms, who has a fun podcast of her own, says her 3-year-old loves folding laundry. What?
Oh, yeah.
She says they all make their own beds and pick up their toys. The 9-year-old vacuums. She says no allowance or chart. This is her hack. I just started them young. Well, where were you 9 years ago, Mimosas with Moms? Because I missed the boat on that one.
When the kids were really young, I created this game. I was like, who wants to play Spy Hunter? And they're like, Spy Hunter? And I'm like, okay. It was a game where I took the laundry bag, I turned it upside down, and I said, you have to find socks. You have to match them together.
Oh, my God.
Spy Hunter is used now as an adjective when they know they're being duped, because they're like, wait, is this a Spy Hunter game? And I'm like, no, we played it literally 2 times. I think my kids were 5 and 3 or something like that. And Spy Hunter now is an adjective that's used where it's like, oh, Dad's just doing Spy Hunter again. And so I really blew it.
You've had a couple of things on this episode where I have been really impressed by your techniques, but only fleetingly, because you finished it all off with being like, I did that twice.
Yeah. And
then your kids called you out on this one.
Yeah. Of course.
I love it though.
Yeah.
Those are good ideas. It's just hard to maintain. I've always said, so I got asked once for like an interview, like, what is the hardest part about parenting? And then I've always said, for me, it's consistency. Like, you need to be consistent with so much stuff, like consistent with how you treat them when they do something right, how you treat them when they do something wrong, when you're trying to get them to do stuff. If you can be consistent for 2 weeks, they understand it and absorb it, and then their behavior changes. But it's hard to be consistent when it's really inconvenient for you
Right.
to not solve the problem instantly without putting this stuff into practice. I know where my shortcomings are. I'm just unable to overcome them.
Right.
So I will say, if I started them young, yeah, this would be an entirely different thing. But I have not been consistent, and I did not start early. Jillian St. Louis says, my 2-year-old and 4-year-old choose the jobs they get every day. Only way they'll help. So you give them some agency in the process.
Okay, little skin in the game.
I'm skeptical of that one really working, but a couple of people said it. So
okay.
Trinette_Nichols says she uses the green light app. I use the part that assigns money to each chore. The kids do chores without asking.
You know what? I'm super psyched. I need another app to parent my kids.
But the kids do like when technology is tied to stuff. It definitely impacts my 9-year-old.
Maybe that I'll take a look.
So maketheheart.grow says that we stick to the rule: if you use it and you put it away, you have to use it or put it away. If you don't, it disappears and you have to earn it back. So a toy or a game or something. That's pretty good.
That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Be responsible for your stuff, or we take it away.
Yep.
That teaches you a lesson. I like this one. E. Frerix says, I have to give very specific instructions to my kids. Cleanup doesn't work. You have to, he gives the example, or she gives the example, you pick up the Barbies. You have to say specifically. I like that she says you. Casey Hoop says, I have to lose my shit on them in order for them to do anything I ask. 100% agree. And Jay from the Burb says that their job is to pick up toys. And they use the old Barney song, which I didn't know was a Barney song, but I do know the song. And in fact, I think I learned it from 30 Rock, but it's clean up, everybody, everywhere. But they tweak it and they say, clean up, mommy doesn't do your share, which is pretty good.
There you go. Just to
I'm not cleaning your shit for you.
Stick it in there. Exactly.
It reminds me of a Strokes song I really like. Anyway.
Great.
So
all right.
I am gonna try the point system one, I think, with my wife, because she likes using chalkboards and quick erase boards to draw charts. So we'll come up with a system and do that and see if that works.
We used the green, yellow, and red lights. When we had little like clothespins with the kids' names on them, and we would kind of go up and down. But this is more behavior, less chores based, more behavior. And when I say it became the sole obsession of everyone in the house as to who was on green. Can I get onto green? I'm on yellow, but that's not fair because this guy's on green and I think I should be on green.
That's the challenge,
Every sound that came out of their mouths was some sort of plea as to, well, I've been on green for 2 hours, so can I do this now? And so we burned it in front of them, we were cackling.
Have you seen School of Rock with Jack Black?
Yes.
When he becomes a substitute, like prestigious prep school for little kids, and he sees the chart on the wall and he asks somebody, what is this? Yeah. And there's a kid who's clearly dejected because he's not in good standing on the wall. He's like, you get a gold star if you do well, or you get like a black mark for like a demerit. And Jack Black is like enraged by the concept, and he's like, what is this bullshit? And he takes it down and he rips it up, just like you and your wife burned yours in front of your kids.
That's right.
Because everyone gets so obsessed with having like their value measured.
I know. The good thing is that goes away when you get a job. So
it's capitalism for you, is what it is. It's a toxic system, Pete.
Perfect.
We're exposing the flaws.
I don't know if that's going to ever happen. Oh, wait, there's this huge pandemic that's sort of opening our society up.
I forgot about that. Next week will be week 5 of lockdown. By the end of this, at the very least, we're looking at 2 months of being locked down in New York City. Yeah. With my wife being sick and stuff, I haven't had time to like be bored or like have the typical annoyances of it. But it looks like she's starting to come out of it. Hopefully by the time you guys listen to this, there'll be good news and some definitive stuff. You can check her out on Instagram, where she's kind of giving updates. I don't like to speak for her in terms of her health, but we had some promising signs this week. So hopefully next week I can just go back to being irritated with my kids and like the annoying, they're in my face all the time because this is quarantine way, and not in the I'm the only one dealing with them and taking care of my wife and this sucks kind of way, and being lazy as possible.
I really no. My thoughts are with her. I really hope she gets better so
Oh,
that you can be bored and go back to just raging out on your kids. That was a
exactly.
really sweet sentiment. So get better, Mom and Buried, so Mike can start raging out on his kids. This is a really not a great
Heartwarming.
podcast.
Well, you know
Yeah,
what? Even if you didn't like that, go give me 5 stars. You know
there
why?
you go.
Because
Yeah,
you got to bribe me into
yeah.
changing my ways, right? It's better than
So
blackmail.
exactly. So Mike, before we go, we have a couple comments that we got on our last couple episodes. We should knock those out because some of them are pretty sweet. From our last episodes, which we released on April 1st, which was kind of a April Fool's, but kind of
We
not
did.
really,
Not really.
because
I
we
didn't
actually
do a
turned
very good
out
job of selling it. The fact
no.
that I like my kids, because I think I'm not a good liar.
Yeah, you're like man. But yeah, you wanna take
Yeah,
this one?
Terry K, when she wanted to say that when it comes to what she loves about her kids, she says she loves the impromptu hugs and snuggles. It melts my feelers.
Yeah.
I don't have
So the
feelers.
Well, the thing that I think we should know is that Terry K is also an arachnid. That now most arachnids don't have actual feelers, but in
That's
Terry's
right.
case, she does.
She's not an insect. She's an arachnid.
An anthropod or whatever.
And then
Yeah.
in the previous episode before that, where we focused on your Corona and COVID stories, Dana Bosday, who's a very loyal follower and commenter, said there is one upside to Corona. I can't get together with my in-laws. And then she said, "How have you guys not had an episode about in-laws yet?"
Has she literally not listened to episode 24?
What was that?
Raising kids near parents versus not near
Yeah,
parents.
that wasn't super focused on in-laws, because I think maybe what she's asking is partially our relationship with our in-laws, less than the grandparent situation, which is
Oh,
different.
in-laws specifically. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
I thought we kind of covered.
They're not our grandparents, right? So like we have a different relationship with them than our kids do, and the way we feel about how they are with our kids is certainly part of it. Like if they try to parent or do bullshit and undermine our parenting, but in terms of our own relationship with in-laws,
You know what, Dana?
I don't want to. I want to
You've
keep my
charmed
in-laws.
us. You just got us. You just got yourself a topic.
We'll see. We'll see. I want to keep my in-laws, so I can't get
Okay,
too
Mike's
real
gonna
on.
play it cool. He's gonna play a little. He's gonna play a little off the chest. He's gonna be like, "We'll see. We'll talk about it later, I guess."
It's funny. I don't think they know what a podcast is, so maybe it's fine.
Yeah. All right. I
All
think we
right. Well,
got it all
Pete,
right.
you know what? You know what I want you to do, Pete? I want you to
What?
stay home,
Okay.
save lives, and stay healthy.
I will do one of those things.
That's what I want. That's what I want everyone else to do. We'll see you next week. Until then, go give us 5 stars on Apple and subscribe, and stay safe out there.
We'll see you next time.
Peace.
I don't know why you would still be watching this isn't a Marvel movie, no matter how much I look like Paul Rudd, which you can deny it all you want. It's there in the eyes, I think. I'm young looking like him. If you enjoyed the podcast, which you obviously did or you wouldn't be listening still, sign up on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to. Comment here on YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button. We want to hear from you. Comments, questions, dirty jokes, money, all the money you can give us. We'd love it all. Catch you next time.